What is going on, everybody? Luke here today, and what I'm going to be going over is the sales changes over September to December based on Q4, based on preparing for Q4, and I'm going to be showing you my actual sales, me as an example, my example of how my sales increase month to month and everything around that, as in what to expect in terms of when does Q4 go crazy, when to prepare for Q4. Now, quickly, from the beginning, I did a video already, the shorts video earlier this week, focusing around, a little bit about that. But just quickly in the summary, I'm preparing now in September. I'm buying selective lines of Christmas base, advent calendars, that kind of thing. And I'll obviously increase that over time. And I'm slowly adding more purchase volume to the product mix, as my restock limits increase. So far, every week, they're going up a couple of thousands. And they have been for about 2 months now. And so great, that's all I can say. It's exactly what I expected. Amazon know the potential of Q4, and if they hinder and limit people's potential sales, then they're gonna obviously sell less. Well, the sale price could be higher, but they don't really want that, do they? They don't really want people to be, the customers to be getting ripped off. That's not their goal. And what you want to do is you want to obviously see the scalability of how your Q4 could go. And this is not going to be 100% perfect for everybody's situation. Some people might have a better November than December. That happens. Some people have a better October than November. That happens. It just depends on what you focus on, what type of products you sell. I'm going to, there's no perfect way to do it. I obviously look at it as an accumulative total, normally October, November, December as a segment, quarter, of course. And I reflect on that because I kind of know how it works enough now that I see it as a building block. So I might have a ton of stuff in October, but it doesn't mean it's going to sell yet. But it's not about selling it in November, it's not about selling it in October or beginning of November. I understand the process. So I'm going to be talking about my September, October, November, and December sales, units, all that kind of thing, just so you can get a gauge of what you could do in terms of your potential for Q4. So as you can see, September, I did about 58,444, 6,000 units, give or take, a bit less. Yeah, ignore the net profit. Got to take out VAT on that stuff, only because it doesn't really work on here very well, so ignore that. But in theory, I don't even care if this is zero, because it's not always about selling the product. Like, yeah, I made that sound, but a lot of what I'm doing in these months are not related to, I don't really care what the month's doing, because I know that I'm preparing for, like far greater future months that would override any issues or short-term losses or whatever the hell obviously I didn't make a loss here, but it's not so much of a big deal for me, definitely in September anyway. So you can see 58. Now I actually put some notes down to show you. I'll talk about them after, the increases in X. So my sales this month to next month actually only went up 1.17%. So I did 1.17x, as in that's 0.17x, like 20% more, 17% more. You can see here, not really anything changed. Units went up, sales went up. Okay, well, it's October. People are starting to buy more stuff, but not really anything noticeable. Not really, which is fine because I already know that. I already know, I've had many years Q4. I understand the process. Again, I'm seeing some reaction and action from buyers and sellers. Obviously I'm selling 10 grand more, was it? But nothing important, nothing to worry about. Again, business as usual in October for me. And then we get to November, 165 grand basically. 164 grand a bit. Obviously you can see the net profit jump up. Again, you got to take VAT out, but you can sort of see now the scaling and the demands. To sell 15,000 units in 1 month, you can't really just start sending it in November or end of October, because you have to have plenty. You don't only have to have 15,000 to sell, but you have to be replenishing and buying more for December. So you have to be way ahead of the game in terms of your preparations, the higher that you want to scale. Of course, if you're way below this and you're looking to do 30 grand sales, 40 grand, you can just, if you understand what kind of products I sell, which is normally higher volume, definitely over the Christmas period, normally a lot of the units will take, there could be 9,000 units taken up for the top 20 products. And then it doesn't mean I don't sell 5 or 10 or other products, but that's what I'm going to go on about. If you understand what I'm doing, my style, I guess you could call it, then I've got to be preparing, really well here. And actually, something that we don't have this year is for new products, there was restock limits in terms of maximum limits you could send in. So you could only send in 200 ASINs of each new ASIN. Well, of course, coming into this November, there was advent calendars that might be new that I'm selling. Well, I couldn't send in 500, 600, 700 like I would want to normally. I had to send in 200. This year we don't have that, so it'd be interesting to see what I actually end up doing over this period. And you can see units have jumped up from like 6,800 to 15.5. Sales are of course gone up. So now you can kind of start seeing, okay, Q4 is definitely popping in here, you know, like let's go kind of thing. But don't put your foot on the gas. It's got to actually go forward. You've got to be going into 6th gear if you've got like a better car. Maybe there's like 7, some cars, I don't know. You really got to be going for it full on here. Not even just, you know, going, oh, I've done that. That's awesome. Foot on the gas. No, because what you want to do is you want to then double down again. 295,000 December, 1 month. Obviously it says net profit 64 grand. It isn't. You got to take the VAT out. I keep telling you. But if you want to look at the actual full breakdown of my 3 periods, so the whole quarter, this is basically what happened. I sold 46,500 units. Now that is obviously a lot of units just for 3 months. But you've got to, you know, you've got to really hone down your skills in terms of buying, supply and demand, and also your stock to flow into inventory. It needs to be really slick, and it needs to be the way to get around that a bit is to prepare early. Don't be caught up or scared, like, you know, maybe you've got 100 units or something sitting there, because it's fine. Like, yes, you have to be mindful of the restock limits, but it's going to flow, you know, and that comes with experience too. It's going to flow naturally into each quarter, into each month, and you'll see the results. But you have to have the belief that the data is telling you that. Ultimately, you can look at the keeper charts and you'll see the data and it will tell you that, but you haven't seen the actual results. And so that's why you have to go with the data. Data doesn't take sides, it has no emotions, it has no personality. It is, you know, just data at the end of the day, and you have to go with it, and the world's based on it. And that is how you've got to play it. So looking at the 3 months here, you can see, and looking at the X's, October to November, it was a 2.4. So not only did I double my sales from October to November, but I did more. And then looking at the December, it was 1.8. So it's like 80% more X. And then if you look at the cumulative, you know, beautiful. So you would go, oh, you know, my October was 68 grand. But when you look at it as a bigger picture, zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out, you see that you really wouldn't worry too much about that October. And that is really important, to have the belief in yourself and the data to action in advance before you have the results. Because I find that many people might go, okay, it's October, I'm going to go and buy 50 or something. You might, you know, and if your cash flow does not allow, and you want to obviously spread across multiple products, and you haven't 10 grand, let's say, and you don't have any more, of course you've got to start somewhere, and that means next year you can just improve in that. Maybe you'll buy 70 next year, yeah, and then the year after, and in 3 years and 4 years time. I mean, like my 5th or 6th Q4, and for the first couple of Q4s I never had enough money, and it is experience too. But I'm just trying to give you, you know, someone that's been doing it a little bit longer maybe, and doing a little bit more in sales in this period, to give you that kind of like advanced heads up, you know, like in advance. I'm giving you that experience. I'm giving you it from me so that you can see, and this can hopefully help you prepare better for the period, because there's no way I'm going to be doing 300 grand in December and 25,000 units. You know, if I'm selling 15,000 units in November, well, I also have to have, you know, 24,000 units ready for December. I can't be taking my foot off the gas there. Of course, not so bad in October, but I'm preparing around September, October for these later months, because the units potentials to be sold is so great, and that is something really important. And obviously then once you look at it as a reflective period, Q4, you can see that it's, for me, I had a great Q4, but it doesn't necessarily represent itself or show you, you know, it's not visible in some of the other previous months. It's only when you look at a higher time frame period that you actually get a full reflection of what's going on. And so, you know, just looking at here, it's 17% more September to October, so not really much going on there. And I'm sure some people will do 50 or 100%, because that happens many times. And then it was a 2.4x, so October and November was actually my highest jump month to month. But again, the unit count in that wasn't actually crazy, because maybe from like the second week of November it really starts to ramp up on Q4. And November to December, 1.8x. Now, previous years, it's been December that's actually had the biggest jump, and I feel that is because as you get higher and as you start doing more volume, more sales, you know, you start scaling higher. As you start scaling, it obviously becomes harder to then do 2x, 3x, 4x. You know, if you do 1 grand to 2 grand and it's, you know, you're doubling, well, obviously then if you keep doubling that, at some point you're at 200 grand and you've got to do another 200 grand to double that. It is easier in terms of once you've done 1 million, it's probably easier to do 1.5 million sales a year than it is to do like 300 grand or 600 grand. But also the jumps aren't going to look as big, but it doesn't matter, because obviously you can see it in terms of a reflective sales figure here. And so all I would say, I'm not going to ramble on too much more because everyone hates a long video from me, is that you really want to be preparing in these 2 months where the sales aren't particularly great, but you can get your stock in. You can, you know, because there's not only that, but there's potential prep center issues. If you wait too long, then you may never be able to maximize your Q4 on just the products you're selling. You could do 100 grand in sales and be like, yeah, I had a great Q4. Q4, but okay, fine. But next year, all you really have to do is sell the same stuff. You know, not everything will obviously be sellable, profitable still, but you know, say mostly the same stuff, but just improve on that deliverance, or that delivery process of getting the stock in. Because if you can't send in 20,000 units in December because the prep centers can't handle it, you can't do it yourself, then that's money just disappearing overnight. You know, I think my best day was like 21,000, and I obviously have to have the stock to do that. I have to have everything prepared in advance. I can't just have 1 or 2 weeks supply. And people might ask, what about Amazon saying they only want 1 month supply of stock in, and that kind of thing, when it impacts your IPI? Well, I've done many videos before about IPI and how mine's way under 500 and my stock limit keeps going up and up and up. And I find that short term it might go down for 1 month, let's say it goes to 470, because I have too much stock in. But when the Q4 starts ramping up and I'm over delivering for Amazon, I'm selling more and more and more, and almost, you know, there's definitely going to be products that I can't keep up the supply, so I'll be selling more than I'm sending in across definitely a decent handful. It's then going to be improving my IPI because I'll be selling crazy amounts. I will be restocking, but it's never going to be necessarily as great as Amazon want. And yeah, that could impact you on some metrics, but overall, you're taking a small hit, insurance premium, whatever you want to call it. You're taking, you know, you're basically paying on your IPI maybe short term, but long term, when you start selling that, you know, those crazy amounts or crazier amounts, that's when your scores and everything should start to increase and improve. Of course, not only that, but when you start doing new sales because you have the stock available, your stock limit should go up. And then come next quarter, you're in a good position for 2022. Anyway, going to leave it there. I'm sure there's going to be some questions from people. And if there are, leave them in the comments or on the Facebook group. I'll be doing many more videos about this, everything and anything I can think of anyway. So do not worry if you think I haven't covered any areas or I haven't explained myself as well as you maybe want, because there'll be plenty more coming in the future. So going to leave it there, guys. See you on the next one. Bye.